My name is Margaret Ann Windsor. I'm showing this is in today's paper, Tuesday, February the 4th, and I'll just read this real quick for you because I want to comment on this. It has a picture of supposedly recovering um, art, and they say that it was stolen from a castle in 45. I'd have to look up the castle. I'm not sure. Anyway, the artwork had been looted by the Nazis, so say the historians. Okay, so this is a picture of returning it and calling the Nazis responsible and the thieves. And here we've got art history unearthed in Monuments Men. This is a Clooney film. Now then, Clooney and Tom Hanks have made heroes out of Americans. I want to say that this is my Aunt Georgia O'Keeffe, artist. I think most people would know who Georgia is. She's the sister to my mother. And let me get this out of the way. I don't have all the stuff that most people do when they're filming or trying to. Georgia O'Keeffe is the sister to my mother, Claudia O'Keeffe. Windsor. My father, King Edward VIII, was married to my mom, Claudia Ruth O'Keeffe, sister to Georgia, the artist. And this is the double, absolute imposter that married Wallace Simpson. My father was married to my mom, Claudia Ruth O'Keeffe. His own brother, George, who became illegal George VI, here he is with Roosevelt and his family. They're all real happy. In a visit to the United States, Hyde Park, in 1939, by the way, that's the year that, 1939, excuse me, that's the year I was born. They were planning my kidnapping. Now then, Roosevelt had, in about, I believe it was 36 to 46, JFK's father, Joseph, was made ambassador to England by his friend and buddy Roosevelt. Oh, so hard to tell it. Here's Caroline Kennedy, who's Obama, and these are all part of the New World Order. Elizabeth and her father George VI, and Charles and Roosevelt, and your presidents, all of them. You go back and you find speeches made by George Bush the first, and then his son, and then the Clintons, etc., etc. Now then, my father was married, so this whole thing has been a lie that he married Wallace Simpson. It's even not told about me being born. It's not made public, even though I've done it since I found out in 83. Now, I was born in 39, kidnapped in 41, and brought to the United States, Moulton, Alabama, given the name of a twin, Peggy Ann Dempsey. I married a Childers. And Carl was the other twin. In reality, both twins were dead. They had been killed by their mother, Lina Dempsey, who was unwed. So she had killed them, and she would face, the death penalty in Alabama if all this were told. So she became a party to my kidnapping and the torture of me growing up. And Philip, and I don't think he was born to her. I can guarantee you he wasn't. Philip was placed there in 45. he spells his name Phillip, Edwin, Edwin, as opposed to using the Edward. And then Philip, Philip, became Mountbatten, who married Elizabeth, and they became. She supposedly became the Queen of England, and he had the title of the Duke of Edinburgh. So none of the truth has ever been told. The family, evidently, the Windsors, got together, and the family's all interrelated. And somebody asked me, well, I won't get into that, a family affair. That movie had people knocked off using mind control, and you can make deaths appear of natural cause. The twins have been used in this mind control and the patterns used in it. Buffy and Jody. So Buffy was killed with cancer. I believe it was cancer. It was caused by mind control. Now then, French, who was British, Sebastian Cabot, he was on a plane with a guy who was retired from the U.S. Army, and they were en route to Los Angeles, and he worked for my husband at Grand National in Fulton County in Atlanta, Georgia. It was a double knit, manufactured double knit, and sold it. And so I'm showing you the connection is response, like something happens to me or around me, and then there's a response to it, a clue. While on the plane, this retired Army man from the United States is a salesman for my husband, and he has a plane seat next to Sebastian Cabot, who's British and plays on the program. That he's an English butler, and Brian Keith, and it's called Family Affair, which you use the name in it like a family affair is what they did to my father. They exiled me, kidnapped me over here, and man, that was it. Everything in the book done to not let anyone ever help me or do anything or bring me home and give me back what's mine, or my mom and dad, what belongs to them. In other words, a 99-year seal was placed on taking down my father, and they don't even bother. They bothered to kidnap me, Victoria II, the legal heir. I haven't heard of one of them, seriously, and I'm sorry if I don't know that any of them tried to help me. I know that some of my German relatives did, and I'll leave it at that. Because I don't know from reading on Facebook, and I'm not even going to. I put most of this as much as I could on Facebook, and, all I got in return, oh, yeah. Well, sure didn't reach out to help or tell the truth. I can't believe how money hungry they are. They can't even tell the truth. They're a bunch of thugs. They took out the British, sold it out, Elizabeth and her father. And illegal George VI, he takes down his own brother. He kidnaps me, his niece, and he goes on living his life with his family, with the New World Order, the Freemasons. And I've just researched some on some of my family there, the Windsors, and they're part of the Freemasons. These are the people kidnapped me. The Rothschilds, Rockefellers, Bilderbergers, the Kennedys. Now that I want to focus over here to the art. And I probably don't have but a few minutes left on here. I don't know if I've got any left. Yeah. Here they've always made a deal out of the art and calling Nazis and all these bad Nazis and all this. Blame it on the Germans, blame it on the Brits. Of course, they left out that they stole it from the Brits. Then they stole me, the monarch, and they stole everything British because they inserted their own queen, supposedly queen anyway, Elizabeth II, who her father, George